Hello, everybody. I'm Larisa McCoo, and welcome to my Lunch and Learn, where every single week we explore topics to help you elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And today we are talking about the power of consistency, and I have a super special guest with me, Nicole Cattan. And it is such a privilege because I have been in Nicole's world for a number of years. And I knew she was out there on the sidelines, but a couple years ago, she and I had this moment of divinity, and I started taking part in a program that she was managing. And from the very first second I talked to her, we didn't even have a Zoom call. We just somehow got on a phone call from that.
Yeah, I remember.
Nicole was just absolutely amazing. So I'm so happy that you're here.
Yay, me too. And thanks for having me. I'm really excited. When I got the text, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. And I actually remember that exact phone call that we had. And I was like, oh, nice, because I had seen you around. So to be able to have like an opportunity to speak with you was also really enjoyable, and excited and grateful for that, opportunity to continue serving and working with you in a variety of ways.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, I'll let Nicole do a bit of an introduction. But I'm going to do like the formal shebang thing. Nicole is like brilliant in customer care, self-care as well. However, she's also like the powerhouse director of operations for Kelly Roach International. Kelly Roach is a business coach. She has a business coaching company that serves 6, 7, and now 8-figure business owners. And Nicole's expertise has been instrumental in scaling businesses to 6 and 7 figures through the involvement of day-to-day mentorship in the Kairos program, the virtual business school, and the Advanced Innovation Society. So you are not just dabbling in these, you are very actively involved in 3 different companies, and you have more than a decade of high-level experience strategizing with top-tier clients, really delivering massive growth and operational success. So this is Nicole, and I see her as this super friendly person that I just get to talk to and pitch and catch with, and you really do have a remarkable background. So can you maybe talk a little bit about how you got into this thriving career, right? Like tell people, maybe let's, before you tell us how you got into it, tell us what you actually do in these 3 different businesses, in these 3 different roles. Like, what does Nicole do?
Yeah, awesome. So right now, currently, I've been with Kelly and Kelly Roach International for nearly a decade now. So I've had a variety of roles over the years, both in the back end of the business in all ways, shapes, and forms: customer service, operations, delivery, finance, HR, you name it. I've done it at some point, or have, supported in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, in my role as a director, I serve mainly in a customer service, client support area within those 3 businesses. So Kelly Roach under her brand, through Kairos Mentorship, just making sure that I am the point of contact. I'm able to provide support, guidance, recommendations, and just making sure everyone has what they need when they need it. The virtual business school, I'm the client placement specialist, so really serving in that community, and being able to provide support around the Miracle Hour, Dream 100, the actions that you can take in your business through business action versus theory. So really taking it from a foundational standpoint to help grow at maybe your early stages, or you have a team and you're working for your team to grow. I help in that capacity as well. And then in the Advanced Innovation Society, a similar role in the sense of that customer support, client retention, client appreciation, all of those aspects of the day-to-day. I also do, the external pieces and serving in our live launches, and being able to communicate externally with the market.
Yeah, beautiful. And so how did you first get started? And obviously you said you've been involved in all kinds of roles over the years, but was there a linear progression? Did it just organically come about? Like, where did you start, and how did these these things come about for you?
Absolutely. And I think it's really funny because I like to reflect on this quite often because I'm lucky to do what I studied or a portion of what I studied in school in my day-to-day and my professional world. That is something that not many people do. So that's something that I'm grateful for. And I met Kelly. I was a senior in college taking an interviewing and networking class. I, at the time, wanted to go the nonprofit route and being able to serve in, in a volunteer type of position and focus. And during that class, we had a speaker come in that really impacted my desire and has shifted in where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And he shared that in order to make more of an impact and serve others, you have to first ensure that yourself is protected and covered. So that's from a financial standpoint, safety standpoint, all those angles and aspects. So once I heard that, I was like, you know what? I can still serve and make a difference through volunteer work, through giving back, through service learning. I can also do that while building a name for myself, creating a career, and setting myself up for financial freedom and on that path towards financial freedom simultaneously. It wasn't an if or that, it was and. So I don't know where the idea came from, but during that semester, I was like, you know what? I want to help small business owners. They could really use some help. I see them being the backbone of society and these corporations and blah, blah, blah. And I went to my professor and I kind of shared that desire with her. And she's like, I actually know someone who does that. Would you like an introduction? I said, yes, absolutely. And that's how Kelly and I connected. And I will never forget this. First, we met on the phone to talk about a possible internship opportunity to learn more about her company and what she does. And then we met at a coffee shop in the town of where I went to school. And at that meeting, I was like, wow, this is someone that I want to learn from and grow from and be able to see what impact she's making and being able to do that myself. So I like to say from there, it was like the rest is history. I then went from intern to part-time employee, full-time employee, and then an internal employee. So prior to being internal, I was a contractor for her, and then it elevated into an internal role. I was her second employee brought on and have stayed with her since, and started off in the coaching company. And when she expanded to the other companies, she brought me along with her to come along for the ride. And I'm excited to be here today and to continue to grow. And that path has been up, down, left, right, but I wouldn't have it any other way because I think it is helping me to create that impact and lasting impression that I want to leave in the world, while also, being able to accomplish my goals and dreams too.
And I love how you've been in this. This is not a job for you, right? You don't just clock in to earn money. Like you're here, you're invested. This is a career. This is a vocation. Kelly uses the word vocation, and obviously just with how you serve, you're here for more than a paycheck. And so it's not typical for people, especially your age, to stay in. It's not typical for anyone to stay in an industry or in a career with one company for 10 years. And you've been here for over 10 years. So what has kept you going? What has kept you motivated? What has kept you here instead of trying to seek the next thrill or seek the next adventure?
I think about that often as well, because it's one of those opportunities that I don't think is available to everyone often. So I don't take it lightly. And I'm really grateful and appreciative for this opportunity, in that every time I go through a reinvention or an up level or an evolving way of some shape or form, Kelly always has that intuition or that knowing of that and is kind of leading and guiding me towards that next step. So when I have those opportunities for reinvention and for up level, it always comes at a time where the company provides that next step, that next thing for me, that I never feel the need to look somewhere else, because I'm able to make the impact and provide the service, provide the love and the care, while also feeling heard, understood, appreciated, valued along the way. So it's one of those rare opportunities that I've seen where through each milestone, there's always something else that I can do to continue to grow and to continue to evolve and get better and improve. And I think that lack of stagnation has been amazing in being able to just continue my place in my upwards trajectory. And of course, that comes with stepping back and moving over and taking a step back to take 3 steps forward. But I think that's where I'm able to accomplish everything that I need to with a company, an organization, and a person like Kelly that I look up to, I value, I can appreciate. That it just, I'm just very grateful for it. So, and I think also I'm a very loyal person too. I like to say I'm a ride or die. So that piece is important too. I have that loyalty to
I
Kelly.
remember. So last summer, Kelly put out the whole radical reinvention process, and I think what you're describing, where you get a little itchy, or you get a little, you're about to approach that place of stagnancy. I think we all go through that in life or in business, and if we know that it's a normal part of life, it's a cyclical thing. It happens every couple of years, and so often we just get frustrated with it, or we think we think the circumstance is wrong, or the people are wrong, or we think something other than what's in here is going on. And we don't really think of like, how can we actually build our lives effectively given where I am? Like what is the core essence of what we need? And I think the fact that you've been doing that every year with Kelly really speaks volumes, because when she came out with the reinvention playbook, I was messaging you. I'm like, is the next video coming out? Is the next video coming out? Like, come on. This is so good. It was so powerful when I went through the playbook and her entire process, because it really, really did wake us up. And I think we forget that. And we have these moments where the decisions we make shape our destiny. But so often you want to go within to express without. And especially if you're in business, so often we seek the next strategy, or we seek the next tactic, or we seek, oh, Instagram's not working, let's move to TikTok. Oh, Facebook's not working, let's try LinkedIn. Oh, organic lead gen's not working, let's try ads. But if what you're doing isn't working, are you looking at the right problem, or are you just looking for a Band-Aid solution? And I think that happens so often in the marketplace. So I love that you have that experience. Now, obviously, you've mentioned that you've been in so many different roles. Being in many different roles, you can't have loved all of them. I'm just going to make the assumption that they weren't all like, oh my gosh, I get this next challenge, I love doing this part. I'm assuming that few of those things you'd be like, oh, this is not my jam. Maybe tell us about your attitude to the things that were some of your least favorites. You don't have to tell us what they were unless you want to. But what was your attitude towards the least favorites? How did you keep going through some of those things that you were just like, this is not natural for me, don't really like this, but how did you keep moving? That.
Yeah, definitely. And trust me, there have been many moments, and Kelly and I will laugh about this a lot, but there have been many moments where it's like, we've seen it. We've seen some things. I'm like, it's just, I laugh about it now because one, I've been able to go through it and process and learn from every experience that I've done. So while there were specific roles or moments or seasons that I don't necessarily want to return back to, I'm glad that it still happened because I learned from it, I grew from it, and it also provided me a perspective and a wisdom to then pass on to others. So that's also kind of something that I look at when I am in a season that feels really difficult or really challenging or frustrating or hard. I have that the faith and the trust in knowing that it will pass, it will get better, it will change and evolve, and there's a reason for it, and there's a lesson that will come from it. So taking it more so as not being in the emotion of it. Now there are times where I'm definitely in the emotion of it, but more often than not, I step away from the emotion that I'm feeling, knowing that there's a solution to the problem, there's an opportunity for growth, there is a light at that end of that tunnel, and I think having that confidence in seeing it come full circle and seeing it go through something so difficult to then come out on the other side and be stronger because of it, not only provides that wisdom, but it helps me then move forward. So if something comes up again, I know how to better handle it so I can move through it more quickly. Did that make sense? Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So I think you're saying maybe the first time it might have taken a little longer, but because you've seen you're uncomfortable here, you find the best in it, you keep talking yourself through, you give yourself pep talks, and you do come out on the other side. You're still
Absolutely.
alive, you're good, things are moving along. And the
Exactly.
more you do it, the more you have done it, the better it's gotten, the easier it's gotten, the faster it's gotten. And
Absolutely.
and I think so often we tend to get stuck in where we are. And one of the things I wanted to talk about really was consistency. And this is
Yes.
something I did learn from Kelly. I love that she has consistently seen as you've needed to have an up level or some kind of reinvention.
Mhm.
And this is something I've seen you and everyone on Kelly's team that I've ever worked with, and there's many people I've been in touch with over the years, and there's a level of consistency with the integrity you have. There's a level of consistency in your client service, in the events that you produce, in the fact that you guys actually ask for feedback. Like, I don't know if this is not revolutionary to get feedback from people, but I am amazed at how many companies don't even ask for feedback, something so simple, and you guys listen to it. You really do listen to it and use that feedback to navigate your program. So I see consistency from a client perspective. But how have you observed consistency in in terms of how it impacts results? Like, you've worked with so many different business owners, and I'm sure you've seen like everything moving in all different directions. So how does consistency play out in what you've observed to be people's results?
I think it is one of the most, if not the most important factor in your ability to generate a result of some sort. Because without consistency of taking that action and putting the work in and doing what needs to be done to get the end result, you will never learn from it. You'll never be able to analyze, and you'll never be able to feel that comfort. I think people are so quick to trying to stop feeling uncomfortable that they don't allow themselves that discomfort for long enough for them to overcome it. And I think that is really hindering to someone's potential in the success that they can achieve because of that fear. So even when it feels hard, even when it is scary or uncomfortable, those that have taken the action and do so knowing that they might fail or it's not perfect, or maybe there was a typo, or maybe the image isn't the best thing that they did. Much rather have that. And I've seen that people who do that are able to accomplish much more, much quickly than those who haven't. And I think it's time and time again, whenever I'm evaluating with someone who is maybe struggling or not getting a result of some sort, I always ask what they're currently doing, because then from there you can analyze and see, okay, you're only posting once every few months. Of course, no one is going to invest in what you're doing because they don't even know that you have something going on and that you're doing, especially in this online space and in this market. If you're not having conversations every single day, both on an external and an internal side. So external with the market, with your leads, with your prospects, internal with your clients, with your team, with your relationships that you've built, there's no movement. There's nothing's going to just come out of thin air. So you need to have that consistency of action to be able to get that end result that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And do you have a case study or an example of maybe someone that you worked with or someone that you observed where you really saw consistency come into play?
Yeah, actually. And this was one that it stuck with me and will continue to stick with me because I think it was one of my first really big success stories that I was able to be part of and was grateful to be part of from early on in my career. So I had someone that I worked with back when I was in the coaching company. I was their accountability coach at the time. And each time we had an accountability call, we walked through the growth of their social platforms, their channels, what they were able to do. This person every single month came prepared with their numbers. They came prepared with the updates, the changes, what they've been doing, and their consistency in showing up both on social media and in our meetings and how they were prepared ultimately led them to being able to buy Christmas presents for the first time without having to use a credit card. So the fact that they were able to like buy gifts for their family and go on a vacation without having to worry about how they were gonna pay for it or how or going in debt because of it, really for me was a standout moment in seeing and understanding the impact that we can make just by being a support system and a catalyst for change. And I thought that was really powerful and really beautiful. And that was just this kind of the flag or the stake in the ground of, okay, we're changing lives. We're doing something here.
Yeah. And especially when you can set that example for your kids and set that example for your family and
Mm-hmm.
struggling, you get to say, okay, we did the work and here's something really tangible and concrete that came as a result of it. So, yeah. Now, when it comes to building consistency, what are some ways you can suggest people build consistency? That it's like, I think consistency is like a muscle.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you've probably seen like people like, oh, I'm a procrastinator. Oh, I'm not consistent. Oh, I meant to do it, but it didn't happen. Oops, oops, oops. Like there's 1,000 reasons not to be consistent and they're all valid.
Yeah.
And yes, consistency is a masculine energy. However, you can still do it and you can still survive and you can still thrive and do all these beautiful feminine things for yourself as a result of the consistency.
Right.
How do you build that consistency muscle? Like what could you suggest people do if they're like, I really want to be on the outside, people think I am, but deep down, I know I'm totally cheating.
Absolutely. I think it really comes to making that commitment to yourself and knowing that if you're feeling this way, then something's not in alignment. And I think when something's not in alignment, then you just go down a rabbit hole of procrastination, losing that consistency, not having the discipline, and then feeling bad about it. So first things first is to honor the space that you're in now and understanding that when you look in the mirror, are you looking at someone who is deeply committed to making a change? They don't just want to make the change. They just don't think they have to make the change. They're deeply committed to making the change is the first thing, is kind of making that promise to yourself. And then the second thing is building upon it. So it's kind of like when you think about drinking water and having enough water intake. If you didn't drink any water and then today you drank 3 gallons at once, that is not healthy to go all out. One, it's dangerous. And two, that overcommitment, which is I think the opposite of discipline, makes you then be like, okay, well, I hit and exceeded my goal today. I can do whatever I want tomorrow. So I think it's really starting off and building up the muscle itself. Like you said, it's building a muscle, and you're not going to go to the gym and start off lifting 100, 200 pounds. You may start off with 10 or 15 pounds, being okay that you're part of this journey and that you're making progress towards change, even if it's 1% each day. Mm-hmm. So setting yourself up for that, however that looks for you, and honoring that, hey, I made this step towards positive change. I'm making that commitment to myself. And I know that this is something that that is non-negotiable for me.
Yeah. So so simple as it seems, like this is really simple sounding, and I guarantee 95% of people aren't going to do it. So if you're like, oh, I know that, and if you're not doing it 150%, listen up, take some notes. make the commitment. And that, I think, like, making that commitment is not just like, oh yeah, checkbox, I'm committed, next thing on the list. It's like, this is a deep, profound commitment. Like, what's going to happen when you do make this commitment? What's going to be lost if you don't make this commitment? I think sometimes we look at rewards or sacrifices we have to make. Like, there's going to be a payoff if you do make it, and there's going to be a cost or a consequence if you don't. And sometimes I find with my clients, and often for myself, we're more prone to do things for reasons that hurt than reasons that benefit us. And so not that we want to motivate ourselves with pain, but if you're not motivated by pleasure, what is that leverage to actually be able to make that commitment?
Absolutely.
Like, if you have to keep buying those Christmas presents with credit cards, what's that going to do for you long term? Like, what will that really do for you? What if it magnifies tenfold? And sometimes we don't think of that. But when you do have that wake-up call, you can finally make that commitment, that heartfelt commitment. And then you said, second, do something about it. But don't go gangbusters on day one. Start with something manageable.
Yes.
With something simple and build up from there. And if you want to go gangbusters, still do something simple. So it's almost like you have like a lowest common denominator that you must do. And if you want to go overboard one day, that's okay. But don't keep that minimum expectation. And I think also one of the things that you mentioned before is staying in alignment, right? That the alignment of what you're doing must be key. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how consistent you are. It's still not going to work. If it's not aligned with who you are, where you're going, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to have any buy-in. You're not going to be invested. And whether that's for your life or your business or anything you're doing, there's got to be something more. And if someone wants to learn more about how to be consistent in their business, how to be more consistent and really align themselves with their business, I think we were talking earlier, and you're like, I have an awesome resource that I can gift you. So can you tell us about a resource that you have for our viewers?
For sure. So we have created under Kelly Roach International, we have this internal shifts guide. So it's really walking you through some key internal shifts you can make to get to that next level and what that will look like for you. So I think it is relevant to the conversation today around creating that consistency and what shifts do you need to make inside to be able to get to where you want to be. If you're someone who's looking and feeling like you're stuck where you're at right now, you're in a little bit of a stagnation period and you're not really sure how to get out of it, the internal shifts guide I think will be really helpful.
And who would this be for? Is this for men, women?
Anyone. I think it will be for anyone. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, as we like to say, and as I like to classify myself as part of someone's team, and you're just looking to just make that change in your life and go through that next evolution for whatever that looks like. I think it can really benefit anyone, and then as well as small business owners too. So really for everyone.
Totally. And is there anything else you'd like to share? I'll make sure that my team pops the link in the chat. So there will be a link to the internal shifts guide. So if you're watching this live, write internal shifts guide and we'll send it to you by direct message. Otherwise, right after we are done, my team will make sure to pop it in the chat of wherever this video is streamed. But is there anything else that you would like to leave viewers with? Like, this has been great. I love that we've had this conversation. And it was lovely learning so much more about you and your background, because I've heard bits and pieces, but I haven't actually heard your full story. So,
well, thank you. I really appreciate the time today and to have this conversation with you. I love chatting about consistency and discipline and really focusing in on getting to your next level. And I think when you're feeling stuck or feeling hard on yourself, I think it's really important for you to honor the space that you're in. Recommit to yourself, recommit to your growth, and knowing that just one step forward each day, improving by 1% each day, will get you to where you want to be over a period of time. And knowing that overnight success just does not exist. I think that's something that it's not towards your path of creating a legacy. So if you're looking to create that legacy, knowing it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and you're not alone in the process either. You have people that want to see you succeed.
Yeah. So the lottery sounds great, but it's not going to really bring you the inner fulfillment long term. You've got to build the muscle. You've got to run the drills. You've got to run the reps, and regardless, it still has to come from a place of alignment, because alignment is truly where it's going to happen. So
sure.
Thank you so much for joining us. And again, those of you that are watching, we will put the link in the chat in just a couple of moments for the internal shifts guide. And if anyone wants to connect with Nicole, what's the best social media platform to connect with? Or is there
you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Nicole Susanna Cattan. And I would love to connect and chat more. If you have questions, if you need someone to give you a pep talk, I'm here.
And Nicole's got every resource under the sun. You're like,
I'm a vault, we like to say.
Girl, resource for this. Pep talk girl, resource. You just know everything. You are absolutely brilliant and amazing. Like, when you serve, you absolutely do serve. I love that you have such a wealth of experience, not just learning about different aspects of business, but literally working in and running different components of them over the years. I think you are a brilliant wealth of knowledge, and you're also really lovely and friendly. So I feel very honored and blessed to see you each and every week. And I'm a part of the Kairos program, and I've been involved in other programs as well. So I love the hour that we do get to spend together. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. And thanks.